Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
If you're gonna dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Why, hey there, my amazing listener. Welcome to episode 282 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. And I've got a question for you today. And the question I have for you today is your social media really working for you? How much time do you spend on social media every day or maybe even every week? And can you honestly say, hand on heart, that you're getting a good return for that amount of time? And when I say return, I'm talking financial return here, not likes and comments and engagement, because none of them pay the bills, but money, because we're business owners. We're in the business to make some money. So do you get a good financial return for the amount of time you spend on social media? I know it's a big question to start the podcast off with, isn't it? Really got your mind ticking over already. Now, I make no secret that I have a very big love-hate relationship with social media. My business definitely wouldn't be where it is today without social media. But if I have to be honest with you, if my business didn't require me to be on social media, I would be on social media a hell of a lot less than what I am today. I really want to chat to you today about social media and whether it's working. I really want you to think outside the square, and I want you to spend some time having that chat with yourself as to what's working and what's not working. Now, it's hard to have a conversation between you and I about what you are really doing and whether or not it is working for you, because I can't see you and I can't see what it is that you're doing on social media. So maybe after I posed the question to you, is your social media really working for you? You thought, yeah, Jen, it is. It's absolutely working for me. Or maybe you thought, Jen, I don't know. How do you tell if social media is working for you? So, if we take the last thing first, so how do you tell if social media is working for you? I guess there's probably three things that you could examine to see whether or not, if you're putting a lot of energy into social media, whether that energy is paying off or not. So, the first thing could be to look at your bank balance and, is the amount of time you're spending and the things you're doing reflected in the money that you're earning. You could look at your data. So have a look at your Google Analytics that's connected to your website and see, is social media actually pushing traffic to your website? Or you could have a look at your social media insights. So on each platform, they have different analytics and different insights that you can have a look at and see there what's working and what's not working. Or potentially, depending on your business type, you could look at your calendar and see how many client appointments do you have. How full is your calendar? Or if you're in retail or e-commerce, you could see basically how many sales you're making today attributed to your social media efforts that you're doing. Which of course then might push you back to point B that I just spoke about, which is looking at your data. So you can actually track, is social media responsible for those sales that you're making, attributing to, or contributing, I should say, to those sales or not, by looking at your data. And maybe if you think social media is working for you, I guess those four things above that we just, or not above because you can't see them written, but those four things that I just spoke about, bank balances, orders, calendar bookings, data sets, etc., if they're all sending positive signs to you, then maybe your social media is working for you. Just a side note though, you can't say that social media is working for you because your meme of Taylor at the Grammys or Taylor at the ball game that's just happened this week got lots of comments and likes. That's not what I mean when I'm talking about if social media is working for you. Obviously, we are talking financial gain here because you are in the business to make money. So, yes, you want likes. Yes, you want comments. Yes, you want to build a community. But if social media is really working for you, you want some financial return on that. And when I talk about, your Taylor memes and that, I really mean anything you're putting out there on social media. Good engagement is not a metric of success of something, in my humble business coaching opinion. Let's just say, for argument's sake, between you and I, that your social media isn't working for you at the moment. You have very little engagement. Your data, such as your Google Analytics or your social media insights, don't tell a great story, and your bank balance is looking a little bit less than what you'd like it to at this stage of 2024. So what's the answer? What do you do? I think you could probably do two things. You could do a range of things, but I'm going to talk about two things that you could do. So firstly, you could think about your ideal client and where do they hang out other than social media, and spread your marketing across multiple strategies. My book, Small Town, Big Impact, has 107 of them. So you can't say you don't know what else you could do other than social media, because there's heaps you could do. My book tells you there's another 106 things that you can do. And if you get your ideal client really, really well, like if you know your ideal client really well, then you know where else they are that you could be marketing to get a good return on your investment and a good return on your marketing efforts. So again, so much of what we do and so much of what I teach and talk about as a marketing and business coach is around this. Who is your who? Where do they hang out? And what do you want to be famous for? I know they're three most boring questions in the world, but if you want something like your social media to be working for you, then you've got to know the answers to those, and you've got to implement the answers when you do know that. Of course, the second thing that you can do, you can do over and above the first thing. You can definitely do the first thing, getting to know your ideal client. But the other thing you can do is have a look at the strategy behind your marketing. Do you have a marketing strategy? So rather than doing what you're doing now, which isn't working, because remember, we are talking about if it isn't working, we're assuming it isn't working, you can knuckle down and learn more about strategy. I recently did some guest speaking at Dale Beaumont's Business Blueprint, which was an amazing event. If you don't follow Dale or Business Blueprint on socials, please go and do that. His community and his events are outstanding for small business owners, 100%. But one of the events that I did, or one of the speaking gigs that I did for him, was around having a marketing strategy. And part of that presentation was actually about the audience doing some work and doing an audit on their own social media. So I gave them like 10 minutes and a bit of a strategy to follow, or a bit of a checklist to follow, to see what their strategy looked like. And there was probably about 70 people in that room. And I reckon two, after they all did their audit, were happy with their current strategy. Everyone else was a little bit taken back by the different elements that were missing in their social media or in their marketing. And I talk about 5 elements that you need, with many of them coming to me and remarking, or not even coming to me, like actually being game enough and putting up their hand and talking about the fact that after years of marketing, or after years of having their marketing outsourced, or having a team doing their marketing, or even doing marketing themselves, no one had ever pointed out their lack of strategy, like real strategy, the 5 things you need in your strategy. And just a bit of a side note on this, this is why I love speaking so much, to see that transformation in my audience that day, the aha moments, the moments of clarity, that really lights me up. That is one of the reasons why I love speaking so much. is to have people see that clarity and to go home with something that they can implement into their businesses that will really make a difference. Because it made a difference to them. We went through the 5 elements and then we did an audit, and then we went through, rightio, which ones are you failing at or which ones aren't working so well for you? Here's how, this is what you need to do to up that strategy. And, this is something, if I'm talking and you're kind of like, Jen, maybe I need to know more about this, then book a discovery call with me. Let's have a bit of a chat. Let's see if I might be able to help you. And maybe 2024 is the year that you need to invest in a marketing coach, aka like me. For instance, and if you're, concerned about the price of that sort of thing, let's have a chat. Or if you're in Victoria, you could go through Melbourne Innovation Centre and, book me through that. But anyway, that's just an extra side note. But I feel like strategy is really missing from people. And, I see evidence of it every single day. So there are 2 things that you can do if your marketing isn't working for you or your social media isn't working for you. But let's circle back and say that perhaps your social media is working for you. Perhaps you're one of the people, perhaps you're listening to this and you're like, Jen, I think it is working for me. But I guess you could always get better, yeah? Of course, you could always get better. So how can you improve? And I'd say my biggest piece of advice for you as to how you can improve is to go and have a look at your insights and go and have a look at your analytics, like your Google Analytics. It will tell you where you can improve. That data will tell you what's working and what's not working. So even if you think your social media is working really well for you, go and have a look at that data. For example, if Google Analytics is telling you that Facebook is pushing more traffic to your website than Instagram, what's your Facebook strategy? Because that's how people are getting to you. Or if your Google Analytics tells you that organic searches is how most of your traffic finds their way to your website, then, knuckle down on SEO. Have a look at your Google business profile. Maybe have a strategy around PR, as in getting into the media, getting onto other people's podcasts, etc., etc. Maybe there are ways that you can improve even though your marketing or your social media is working for you. Of course, I've gone through this whole episode without talking about my favorite thing in marketing, which is email marketing. The number one reason why you should be on social media is to get people off social media and onto your list where you can nurture them, where you have more control about what content they will see that you are making. No one I've ever met in my entire business journey who does email marketing well has ever said to me, I started my list too early. It's always the complete opposite, where people say, I wished I had started my list, my email list earlier. Or maybe I wish I had have started it when I started my business. I was just speaking to someone the other day on a One Roof networking call, and they were saying how, they've just sold the second round of their program that they do. And not many people came from social media. Social media was a bit bar hum for them, but most people came out of referrals and most people came out of their email marketing list who bought. It works. I promise you it works. So regardless of whether or not your social media is working, please put some consideration into email marketing as another branch on your marketing tree and another thing that you can do to help build your business. I really wanted to plant this seed with you today and get you to honestly evaluate whether social media is really working for you in 2024. There are huge changes in algorithms this year already. There's big changes coming, big changes in platforms, and it's in the air that more big changes are coming for it. So you need to be ready for it. And make sure you're not relying only on social media, or that your social media is working for you to bring in the business that you so deserve, because you just deserve it. You're in business and you deserve to have the business that you have always dreamed of, and that, serves you, that is profitable for you. So really, I'm just gently trying to take you down the path of looking outside, just using social media as your only marketing strategy. So with that, that's it. That's it for this podcast for episode 282. Don't forget you can find the show notes for this podcast at all the W's, socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/282. You can also go there and book a discovery call with me. If any of this has kind of made you sit back and go, I need your help, Jen, more than happy for you to jump on a discovery call. The link is in the show notes. Otherwise, just go to my website and you'll find the link there as well. If you haven't had a chance to listen into last week's episode where I was going through the difference of a website page and a landing page, both are really important but have very different jobs, then head back and listen to episode 281 back there. But again, that's it for episode 282. I was super excited to have you here with me listening in. I hope that I have stretched your thinking as far as social media goes. And if nothing else has just made you sit back and go, is it working for me? I really need to work this out. Of course, I do have my email marketing masterclass coming up. We start in a couple of weeks. The link is in the show notes if you want to get involved in that. Or you can come and join my Like-Minded Business Owners Facebook group as well. But I will see you next week for episode 283. And in the meantime, if we aren't social, come and find me on social, because I would love to be in your social world and have you in mine. But whatever you do, remember, my small business peeps, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
No time like the present. Tell it like you feel it, say it proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are. No point in dreaming small.
I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Yorta Yorta people, on which I record this podcast and conduct my business today, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I extend this respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here with us today as well.